walk and just down here. What's up, guys? Talking to guys as if there's a lot of people listening, or a lot of people, like as if there's a lot of people watching this. Let me just restart here. All right, so let's start that over again. It's Jordan. It's my garage. This is the Magools. And what I thought I'd do is a quick video, quick update of kind of what I'm working on, what my plan is. Maybe review this toolbox back here, and then talk a little bit about why I'm making videos in the first place. So, yeah. So one of the first things I want to do is get some tunes in here. So I bought this Samsung soundbar that comes with its own little subwoofer here for, you know, relatively cheap, I guess, at BJ's. I just wanted something that with a little bit more kick than you know, some of the smaller cheesy stuff you can get at like Walmart or whatever. So I think this thing was like $220 or something like that. So not the cheapest thing out there, but by far not the most expensive. I mean, I started looking at them, and the nice quality stuff's easily over $1,000. Definitely not looking to spend that kind of money. So I've tried it out. Had it hooked up to the Bluetooth on my phone, and got a little bit of static. And then farther my phone was, the worse the sound quality was, and I didn't want to have to keep my phone next to it. Plus, then you're having everything run through the phone and everything else. So one of the things I thought I would do, and I guess one of the things I did do, was purchase one of these little mini PCs. It's like less than $100. You can get them at Amazon. Basically, they can get wireless signal. So in the front right corner of my garage up there is, we're not far off from the corner of my house, which is where I have my wireless router. So the thought here is, if I mount this all the way up in that corner, I can use this super long HDMI cable that I have, hook it into my new soundbar, and then all I need to do is hook up a monitor. So this is just some super old piece of crap. So I'm going to get a little bit nicer of a monitor mounted on the wall, have that connected to this. Probably another HDMI would be my guess. And depending on how I want to connect it, maybe I can connect the soundbar to the monitor. I'm not sure. We'll see. And then I just purchased off of Amazon one of these wireless combos of keyboard and a mouse that I'm going to plug in and see if they can get working. So that's my plan for today, is just get those hooked in so I can bring in this other stuff, get the wired mouse and the wired keyboard back in the house. Then that'll get me some tunes in here. So I'm going to get that started. It's really windy out. I'm gonna go check out my flag to make sure that it's doing okay. So I apologize if it's gonna get windy out here. It's doing okay. I just put in new screws in there, stainless steel screws, because the ones that were in there were not all the way in. They weren't hitting the wood up there, so they were. I mean, it was just on the siding, and it looked like the flag was going to blow right off. All right, let's see how we're making out with this thing. Let's come over here and let's turn on my, barely even get this thing started. And barely even have my shop set up and it's already a freaking mess. All right, so I got it going. I'm not gonna leave it playing for too long because I don't wanna have copyright problems, but you guys get it. So that's the idea. Obviously the signal's not the greatest because it's here in the corner, in the back of the garage, and once I get it up there, it'll be a lot better. All right, so let's kind of talk about where I'm at with this. Obviously you can see here, I've got a lot of insulation that I got to put in. Where I am right now is I'm waiting for the finish inspection of the electrical. They came in a couple weekends ago. They got me my 240 outlets installed. They got my floodlight installed up top there, which they joined to my sconces, which I wasn't crazy about, but it is what it is. And now that that's all done, got the exterior outlets all done, I just need the finish inspection to come through. Trying to get that scheduled with my contractor and an electrician. I've had a couple different electricians at this point, so whichever one is on the permit needs to come and we'll get this done. So once that's done, I can get the insulation up, and then when I get the insulation up, and I apologize for moving the camera fast, then I've got OSB. So I'm going to do OSB walls. Makes just my life so much easier mounting stuff. I have a bunch of stuff I want to mount. I got 13-foot stud or 12-foot studs, 13-foot walls, which will allow me then to take advantage of all that height. And I got all that height because I've got this lift here, this wildfire lift, which I'll be doing relatively soon, I think. And I'm gonna try to do it myself, I think. We'll see how that goes. One of the other things that I did was purchase this toolbox and kind of go through why I purchased this particular toolbox in this setup. So initially, with the size of my garage, I wanted to have along the back wall a beautiful toolbox. You know, some of the ones that you see in professional shops or some of these crazy rich people, they get these huge setups, and I just thought, oh, that's kind of what I want to do. I want to save up and I want to get an amazing setup. The problem with that is, first of all, it's expensive. But the bigger problem, in my opinion, was what I was dealing with before. Let me just turn off this music. It's kind of distracting me. Okay. So before, when I would work on my car, I'd be working out here, right over there, where that wind's blowing that thing. And outside, and when I would need a tool, I'd have to walk. Let me go back. I'll show you. Like if you look past, right over there is where the car is. So I would need a tool and I would walk into that garage, and then I wouldn't find it. And then I'd walk into the basement, which is right over there. And then I'd find it, and then I'd go back out of the car and I'd say, oh crap, it's the wrong size. And I'd go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So where I want the lift, now the lift I got has casters on it, allows me to wheel it around. So where I want the lift is kind of in this area here. And my original thought was like, oh, I need a tool. I can just quickly bounce back to the back wall and grab what I need. And then I thought, well, that's a lot of back and forth. And why not take advantage of the fact that I've got enough space here to put something along the side? And I thought, well, if I had a toolbox down the middle, it kind of limits my ability, especially if it's a big one, big tool cabinet, my ability to move the lift around if I want to put the lift on this side or whatever. So then I got the bright idea, why don't I just for convenience sake, like who cares about what it looks like and how expensive it is, why don't I just go purely on function? So then I started looking at these triangle toolboxes. And really with these came into my range specifically because of my distaste of how sockets are organized in traditional toolboxes. A lot of them, peg styles, they're plastic or whatever, and they look like a mess. They look cheesy and cheap. And when I put in socket organizers, I thought maybe I can find a nice new socket organizer, somebody who has the same opinion as me. And they do have some nice ones that you can put in the big toolboxes, but then I came across these triangle toolboxes. And I thought, well, that's perfect, because what that gets me is it gets all of my tools right in front of my face. Because one of the other things that I find myself doing is I've got tons of tools that I don't even remember owning. I don't remember having. So my now new approach is going to be get all of my tools out and on the wall, everywhere I can see them, in front of my face. So I got pegboard that I'm gonna put up. I'm gonna have shelves instead of cabinets, and I'm gonna just have everything in front of my face so I don't ever forget the tools that I have, and I know exactly what's there and what's missing if it is missing, because it'll have a home. So when I looked into these triangle toolboxes, I thought that's perfect. I just need a smaller cabinet one with big wheels to roll around. I had originally looked at the Craftsman ones that they sell at Lowe's, because I'm a big Craftsman, or at least I used to be a big Craftsman fan before they were sold, and now they just seem very cheap. But before that, so I started looking at those, and then I realized, well, those are pretty cheap and cheesy, and one of the biggest reasons why is if anybody looks at them, you'll notice on the big heavy cabinets like this, they'll only have one of these instead of the two. So over time they just get weak, and if you put something heavy in there, it'll get flimsy and start to bend and not glide as nice. So then I started doing comparisons right in Lowe's, like different style cabinets. And I looked at the Cobalt ones, and those had the two runners, and they weren't that much more expensive than the Craftsman, but they were more expensive. And then I'm like, well, let me just go check out what Harbor Freight has, because obviously they've got those giant ones that are really nice. And then I found this Yukon one, which is one of their cheaper models, but it had the double slide, and everything from a specification perspective looked almost identical to the Huskies and to the Cobalts and to a lot of this sort of low-end style cabinet. Had the casters with locks on it and everything else. But more importantly, what it was is the width. And the width was big enough and shallow enough that I could put this triangle toolbox on top. And then with this setup, it allows me to easily wheel it around and put it next to where I'm gonna have my lift, wherever I'm working on it, and it'll just be right there. And the added benefit is it gets all of my tools right there in front of my face. So I just got it sketched out. I was so excited I wanted to put all my sockets in here. These are just my sockets that don't belong in my normal kit. And just get them all laid out. And you can see, obviously, I don't even have all the pegs filled out. And it has some home for power tools. It has power, obviously. I've got all kinds of storage space back here. And then those pegs in the back are for wrenches. I got a new set of ratcheting wrenches that I'm gonna put back here. All kinds of screwdrivers and wrenches and everything else I could possibly think of can be right here. And the beauty of this is it's right in front of my face. I don't need to go digging, don't need to go searching, and it's not a sort of like a vertical look down either, where it's a little bit harder. Some of them, obviously those nicer ones have the numbers right there, but these slots allow you to put whatever you want. And then this itself also comes with a drawer that I can put some of my ratchets in. So I'm super excited about this. One thing I've got headed my way that I ordered are some lights, because you can tell it gets a little dark here in this toolbox. So I've got some magnetic LED lights that I'm going to be putting up here, because it already has power. That's perfect. I can just plug them right in. They're not battery power or anything like that. So I got that, get those in there where I can just hit a switch and then see that. And the other cool thing that I got were these deals from Amazon, which admittedly they're not the cheapest things for what they are. Come on. But these are magnetic zip tie holders. So basically you can put them on anything metal, and then if I have a cord, I can zip tie these right on there, the cord right on there. So I got the cord on the other side here, where I'll have the power running out the back, and then I can just have this mounted on this and the lift when I have eventually the lift up and running. So these were, this box of 50, I think there's 50 of them in here. I haven't counted. Was like 40 something dollars. This is my new, I'm kind of a sucker for this kind of stuff. It looks like a filter with a filter wrench on it, but it's a coffee cup. I don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of a sucker for it. I thought it was pretty cool. So anyways, that's the toolbox, and that's Extreme Tools. Not cheap, which is the funny part, is you might look at this and think this is a more affordable option than one of those giant cabinets. In reality, no. I think all in all, this toolbox alone, just the top chest, the triangle toolbox, was about $1,400. It comes shipped on a pallet. It's pretty heavy. My wife and I, she helped me. I used the engine hoist to get it up in the air and put it on top of that. All right, so that said, I wanted to talk a little bit about why I'm even bothering making videos. Because, you know, for one, I'm being realistic here, okay? I'm not a very entertaining person. So I also don't have a lot of followers to begin with, and I'm not looking to necessarily grow a giant channel here. Honestly, if I get any benefit out of this, other than my intent, it's all gravy, it's all great, and I'm looking forward to it. Not looking to be recognized or anything like that. Don't have very realistic expectations here that this channel is not going to grow into anything significant. First of all, I don't have the kind of time to invest into it to where I can have a video come out like every week. It's just this stage of my life, I focus on my family and I focus on my work. So having said that, why am I even bothering to do this then? So a couple years back, my wife had a channel that she's looking forward to continuing this year for her gardening. And I was doing all of her editing. And then one day I thought, well, maybe it'd be interesting because it's surrounded around her flowers around our house. And I thought, well, what if I did the history of the house? Because I thought it was pretty interesting stuff. So I put a video together to talk about the history of the house. And during my research, I found it very interesting that there were giant gaps of time of the record of the house and the people specifically living in it. I got quite a bit of history on the original builders of the house. Through Ancestry.com, I found a family member, which I thought was really cool. So I learned all about the beginnings of the house, and then a couple different tidbits here and there, whether newspaper articles or census records or whatever about other owners of the home. So I put all that together, and it kind of got me thinking, you know, in terms of my own personal legacy. Once I'm long gone, what if I wanted future generations to see who I am, or see in terms of the house, like who lived in this house, who built the garage, who put all this stuff together. And if I have great grandkids, like could they, you know, we're in a unique time where if we were to make a recording like this, they could see who I am, like who the bloodline is. So that's really my intent with this channel right now. I think it's changed a little bit. I was going to keep it very car focused, and there's going to be a lot of car content, I think, because it's just what I enjoy doing. But really, it's just sort of a recording of who I am, so that maybe my future bloodline can kind of look back and see who I am if they're interested, and see, or even just somebody who's maybe not related to me was interested in see who lived in this house. That's kind of what I'm thinking. An interesting way to do it, and just a record of it. There's so much stuff out there nowadays, and I'm obviously pretty insignificant in terms of the grand scheme of things, but I mean, the people who lived in this house, some of them weren't significant in any way, and I had a hard time finding the history of some of them. And I thought, that's kind of sad in some way. So why not take advantage of the fact that so much of our lives are recorded at this point? And if somebody really wanted to look back and find out who I was or who lived in this house, let's just throw it up on YouTube for people to see. So I don't think, to be honest, I don't think anybody's really going to even watch this unless they're truly curious, maybe years and years and years later. But that's my intent. So if you are, watching because you like the garage build, or maybe you caught the Fiero custom video that I threw together a few years ago, or maybe even the West Coast Fiero kind of review, those kinds of things, just kind of dabbling, throwing out there. But I just throw some stuff out there here and there with no real intent. It's going to be kind of scattered, and it's really just to kind of get my voice recorded down and see what happens from there. So that's it. If you did happen to watch this whole thing, thanks. I appreciate it, I guess. We'll see how this goes.